Alright, everybody, welcome. This will be the first video I work on, and it will be a Banshee build guide with the weapons, how to get them, how to get the Warframe itself, um, the same way with the mods, and the augments, as I'm running one augment for Banshee, and most importantly, the arcanes that you'll need. I mean, they're not required, they're just recommended. So let's hop in and take a look. Alright, everybody, we are featuring Banshee Prime today for our build in our build guide. Banshee is a crowd control warframe, which is amazing to have in a long run between defense, survival, or excavation. However, Banshee is equally good for any other mission that you do. Passive for Banshee is Hushed, which allows weapons to be hushed and quieter when you shoot them. The first ability I have on my Banshee build is Roar. This is a helmet ability that was replaced for the original ability. The second ability is Sonar. What Sonar does is exposes enemy weak points. When shooting them, it kills the enemy quicker. Third ability is Silence. What Silence does is allows the enemies to be stunned, not staggered. When the enemies are stunned, they will stop shooting at you and cover their ears. This allows you to kill them quicker than they can to you. Very useful for other builds, depending if you're running primary or secondary builds. Your fourth ability for Banshee Prime, or Banshee, one or the other, is Soundquake. Soundquake is a little different than what Silence is. They are both similar, but different, and here's why. Soundquake has a stat proc of Blast. Depending on your stats for Banshee, or whatever build you run, that increases the blast damage proc per second. This also pertains how far it reaches. As for my build, I have very small range, so mine will not reach that far. My build is used for room clearing. Banshee is overall a good warframe, just hard to obtain. As for Banshee, the only way you can obtain Banshee is through Deviri, the dojo, or buying the warframe itself with platinum. Banshee Prime is through trading with other players between Trade Chat or Warframe Market. Barricadiers, not Barricadier, my fault. Primary Surgeons, when the rotation is on Banshee, or Relics. We will now look at the build. As for the build, we have Banshee and the two weapons. The weapons I chose for Banshee, primary, secondary, and melee. I do not have a melee chosen for this build. You can use any melee weapon, any weapon you like, whatever is perfect for you. That is completely up to you. As for my primary, I have chosen Excelliture Prime. Excelliture Prime is a obtained weapon. Also has its own weapon without Prime. The basic weapon is obtained as a blueprint through a disruption in Uranus. Excelliture Prime is obtained through relic opening and trading. Same deal with the pistols, like the Excelliture Prime. It has an AoE, but it does not have a very big ammo capacity. It is 8 shots in for its ammo, unless it is increased by a mod that allows you to have extra ammo in your magazine. As for Excel Ultra Prime, the AoE does have an effect. The twist with it, however, when you are close to an enemy or you're shooting at your feet, it will not explode as it has a safe mode. It is a very unique AoE weapon, but it is a very good weapon overall. As for the secondary, which is the Icarus Prime, these do not have a safety mode like the Exaltra Prime does, or the Exaltra. This secondary also has its own original weapon, which is obtained through the same disruption in Uranus. As for the build is a strength build. You can nerf strength on your build for extra range or duration, up to you, your choice. Prime mods are attained through various ways, which I thought was actually impressive. They're attained through daily rewards every 200 days through a prime reward, Barricadier, rotational every 2 weeks, trade-in, or you can fuse 4 other mods of your choice, can be random or the same, and you can also get a prime mod. Just like that. It is a very low chance of getting one, but it is definitely worth it if you have a bunch of mods that you don't want that are duplicates that you never use. Augments are obtained through syndicate factions, which I will show you in a minute. The auras I do love using. They are required for every build. How I see it, they do help a lot. I am using corrosive protection, which allows a armor debuff, which is 18% armor taken away from enemies. Prime Surefooted is not recommended at all. I just use it for the immunity for staggering. Very good to have if you do run Steel Pass all the time. Not recommended, but it's always an option if you decide to use it. The Ugger mods, as in Ugger Secrets and Reach, I'm using for my Banshee build, are obtained through trading with another player, or the Plains of Eidolon bounties. They are also rotational, so they're not always going to be there, but when they are there, I would suggest farming for them. They are very unique and definitely worth having. As for Arcanes, you can get them from the Eidolon hunting. However, an easier way to get them is through the Whispers in the Walls update. When that was released, you can trade them and dissolve them for Volspur and get these Arcanes. I do not require Arcanes for this build. I don't recommend them, but I do use them for extra buffs. As in, for the acceleration is on critical hit is fire rate, which is very nice to have with the Exaltra if you don't have a high fire rate build on it already, which is completely up to you. These Arcanes are not required to use for this build, but I do recommend them. Arcane Aegis also increases the shield recharge when your shields are damaged. It is a very low chance for it to proc, but it does proc. It has a 3% chance. Steel Path, it's almost instant with how many enemies are shooting you, so it's definitely something to use. I use this for some of my other builds. As in, for example, I use it for my Nova build, which I will show Nova another day. The companion I am using for Banshee and my Exaltra is Carrier. Carrier is a lovely companion. I love using this companion. Another companion I love using is the Samita Kavat, which I will review the Samita Kavat another day as well. Samita Kavat is a little bit more explanatory and simple. It is a little difficult to obtain the Samita Kavat, but it's not that hard. There's a few ways you can do it, but that's for another day. As for Carrier, on the other hand, this is only obtained through trading or relic opening, and the last option you can do to obtain Carrier is through the Prime Resurgence that is currently going on right now as a limited time event for obtaining the vaulted primes that are vaulted. That is the Banshee build, and for the syndicates, I will show you that here and how you obtain them. Alright, so here are the syndicate factions I was just mentioning. They are pretty simple and well understanding. Basically, what they are the factions that you can get all of this good stuff for your Warframes and whatever you need to level up. This is where you get Daggeth. Daggeth is a interesting Warframe for another day to explain. As for augments, weapons do have augments as well, just not a whole bunch. I do know certain ones do, but those are also for certain builds. As for augments, though, these are also what you don't necessarily need, but they are recommended to use for most builds, or some builds, depending on how you run your Warframes and whatnot. As for the Simulacrum, you can also get
Anything you
the
need,
rooms for the for the decoration. As for this one,
Hope it helps.
you can get those. Always change them. I would show them, but I didn't see an option. Next video, I will definitely show you what they do and how to use them. They're amazing. For new people that don't know, you can test builds on there as well. You can also do the same thing with the other ones, get relic packs, augments, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. They are definitely worth having. I know a few of my clan guys have some of these. I do know my second in command right now actually has the new Loka and the Pyramid sequence active, so and he also has augments that I need from that faction, so I'm glad he has those. But yeah, these are the syndicate factions, and for the for the build and everything I have showed you guys through the video, the gameplay of the build will be right after this, and that will also include the video as well. So I hope you guys liked and enjoyed this video. This is the first one. So if I do have room for improvements, please put that in the comments. I will be sure to look at those and make sure I do those in the future. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.
operative is making progress. This will help our cause. When you are ready, go to extraction.
Most cunning founder! With my life I protect your sacred crowns!